Hi, my name is Matt. Welcome to Video 1, Episode 1. Project I'm calling WHYK5. What we have behind me is a 1979 K5 Blazer that is pretty well trashed, but has a good drive line. We got a Chevy 350, SM 465, NP205 that I'm gonna make a 203 doubler. We got the NP203 is right there. So I'm gonna take a YJ body and shove all the guts of this K5 into the YJ body. I've already pulled that off the frame. I've already done some of the work here. What I've done is I've rebuilt the axles and re-geared them to 456s. Let's walk around here. She's a little cooked here. Open the door, find some spray foam, a whole bunch more rot. She's seen better days. Interior is pretty well cooked. She's been sitting for a while. A bit more of a walk around here. Front axle's been re-geared to 456 as well. I got Yukon limited slips in there. My beautiful rubber band choke. She's been used and abused. So today's biggest project is I came down here the other day with a fresh battery, thinking that the battery was the problem why it wouldn't start. Fresh battery in there, still no start. Starter won't even click. So I went under there and I jumped the starter, still nothing. So today I'm gonna pull that starter and test it on the bench. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but I'm gonna try and get this power terminal off of here. If I can get on it. Which I can't. I'm gonna loosen the starter, drop it, and then hopefully get at those. Drop the wrench on my head, now I'm bleeding from my face. Socket. There it is. All right, so we got that out. I'd like to say this was the first time in this vehicle's got me leaking, but it is definitely not. I definitely bashed my hands up a few times re-gearing the axles. At this point, I gotta head to my second shift job, and when I come back, I'll have this on a bench. We'll hook it up to some jumper cables and test it out, make sure this is the wrong part, and then we'll replace this and get the new one in there. I already have that. Came here a couple days ago. I got a pile of parts for this. I got two vehicles to smush together, a lot of work to do. So I'll take you guys along with the journey, and welcome to the channel. All right, so it's been a couple days and several inches of snow. I'm gonna shovel myself out and show you guys how to bench test a starter.
All right, so I had to scrap the audio here because there's the radio in the background, but what I did was I cleaned up the starter really well here, And then we got it all set up and hooked up some jumpers to it and tested it on the bench. And we'll go over that right now. So the first step is to hook up the jumpers between the master power terminal and the solenoid. And then I took some jumper cables and hooked those up from the master power to the battery, and I grounded out the case of the starter. Had a little trouble with the clamps there. And then I hooked the actual battery up. The switch that I have there is a jumper. I just made up a bypass with a toggle switch to act as the ignition, and we'll go over how to make that in a minute here. Clamp fell off. I had to set it all up. I wanted to show you guys the starter actually engaging and throwing itself out there. So I got my switch here. The starter fired up, so the starter tested good. And now what I did here is I made a little toggle switch. I just used a piece of PVC pipe. This was just real quick hack and slash kind of thing to get this going so that I could test the starter. I set up a couple terminals here that I could attach to the toggle switch. And here I am attaching it to the toggle switch. And then I take these alligator clips that I had kicking around and set those up to the other end so that I could clip those onto the starter, as you saw a few moments ago. And then I just put that into the PVC, attached it there, and I just taped it up real quick. I just made this real quick. It's just I couldn't afford to buy a jumper, so I just made it real quick out of some spare parts that I had laying around. As I taped it up, I added a little strain relief here by just bending the wire around. That way I couldn't pull it out of the toggle switch. And then I go ahead and add the jumpers to the other end here. Just quickly threw those on there. After this, I decided that the starter tested good, so I decided to put it back in. Also, the other one was the wrong bolt pattern, and the alligator clips are having a little battle here. Rawr, 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 rawr.
All right, guys, it's been more than several days since I've been on Project WHYK5, but we're back on Project WHYK5. I'm gonna brush this thing off. We're gonna try and get that starter thrown back in, see if we can get it running, and see if we can get it into the garage today. I got like a couple more hours before it's dark, so I gotta get going on this. Come along for the ride. All right, guys, so it's about 20 degrees and I'm crawling around under a truck right now, so this might not be the best recording. But let's try to get this thing back in here. All right, somebody want to pass me those bolts? All right, by myself. Yeah, I know this wants to be shimmed, but it didn't have any shims in it before, and it worked for a while, so I'm gonna hope it continues to work. And it was something electrical that was causing it not to run. I don't know why it wouldn't have jumped for me. Oh, these headers don't make it easy. Hook up our jumper here. All right, I'm gonna go this way. Alright guys, so apparently that wasn't recording, but it lives. It lives again. I really want to try and get this up to the garage before it dies or anything else happens. So I'll get back to you. Hopefully we'll be there. Maybe I'll try and record some of the trip up there, but we'll find that out in a minute. Alright, so the K5's in the garage. Full disclosure, it didn't get in on its own power. Ended up tugging it in here with the tractor. But it's in here, so we can start working on it. I couldn't keep it running yesterday, and it was getting really cold and dark, so it's quicker to just get it into the tractor. So I didn't get too much of the actual getting it in, but it's in now, and I think that's going to conclude episode 1 of Project YK5. And in the next one, we'll be stripping the driveline out of this thing and tearing it down, pulling the axles out, putting some other axles that I'm not using under it so we can get it to the scrapyard. I know it's a shame to scrap something like this, but there's like nothing left to it. So if you like the video and you want to follow along with the rest of it, give a like, comment, and definitely subscribe. All right, thanks. Have a good one.